Hi, Devin. How are you? Devin Bennett.
I am doing well. Thank you for asking. How about yourself?
Yes, very good, thank you. Very good. And we are here for you to make your second recording in the series we're doing, 3 episodes each of defining moments in your lives. And what do you have for us?
So this particular time in my life, I think is reflective of just some of the trauma that I experienced as a child, the instability, and some of the things that were um, influential in my life as far as cultivating, anger, resentment, and pain and grief and other things towards family and towards other things. Um, but this particular time, I was it's about 13 years old, um, eighth grade. I actually wrote a piece about this some years ago called "A Dark Christmas." So at this time, I was in a group home. I had got arrested when I was in fifth grade for burglary, trespassing, vandalism, and some other stuff. And I ended up getting sent to this group home called Sheridan House. And I had been there for almost 2.5 years at this time. Um, and I was actually doing good at this particular time,
Mm,
about ready to graduate. But my mom at the time, she was missing in action. I did not know where she was, and my dad had relapsed again. He had went on a bench and he was MIA. I did not know where he was, and this was right around Christmas time. And so traditionally in my family, um, most of my family, they will go on my dad's side of the family. They'll go to my grandmother's house on Christmas Eve, and we'll celebrate Christmas there, and you exchange gifts and what have you. And more often than not, um, I would go to these, but I would either go with my dad or without my dad. Um, and so this particular time, like I said, I was doing very well in Sheridan
mm,
House, and my family, because of the mischief and everything else that I was getting into, being rebellious and just hard headed, they were very proud of me. This is on the cusp of graduation from the program, and so I go to my grandmother's house, and my grandmother's house, as most people's grandmother's house, there are things that are unique.
mm,
The bill is always a little bit softer. The food is
mm.
always a little bit better. The
Yeah.
hugs are always a little bit softer. There's just things that are unique to grandmother's house, what makes it grandmother's house.
And the
Um,
whole nostalgia of it and comfort is
yes,
is there, isn't
yes,
it?
it definitely is. And so I'm in this environment, this nostalgia that you spoke of. I'm there, but at the same time, I'm not there because again, like my dad is missing in action. I don't know where he is. I just know
Mm,
he's drinking and drugging and doing whatever he's doing. And so I'm at my grandmother's house. And as the evening draws near, I'm I'm excited, but I'm also on edge because I know that it's going to be uncomfortable because I'm going to be the only kid there with no parent.
mm.
And it's so evening comes,
Take
Christmas
take
Eve,
your time, Devon. Take your time.
and everybody's coming and everybody's excited to see me, like again, like I'm doing good, like everybody's just excited to see me, and it's really a good time. But like at the center of this, like my dad is not there. And so like there was always this resentment that I had because my dad's side of the family, they're well off. They're successful by every sense of the word. They have
Mm,
money, they have prestige, they have all of these things. But my father is a drug addict and alcoholic, a criminal. Like he's just, and so while my cousins were being raised in privileged circumstances, going to private schools, getting brand new cars on their 16th birthday, living in $1 million homes, I grew up in what many would say poverty. I had a number at lunch to get my lunch. I got free lunch. Like I lived in an apartment building. Like, I mean, my dad drove a used Grand Am. Like I did not live like everybody else in my family. And my understanding as to why the circumstances were the way they were was because my dad was a drunken and alcoholic and a drug addict. And so there was a resentment there towards
mm.
my father that was, in all honesty, appropriate, but it was still to an extent hard to wrestle with because again, he's my father. So how do you reconcile the resentment with also the love that is almost natural, that is natural for a father and a son?
Mm.
Um, Christmas Eve, it's exchanging gifts time. And this particular Christmas, like I got a lot of stuff. I mean, I mean, I got a lot of stuff, and like I was,
Yeah.
like,
I read your piece that you wrote about this, that you called The Dark
I,
Christmas, and it sounds like you
I
got
mean,
every gift going.
I mean, they gave me cologne, they gave me shoes, they gave me shirts. I mean, I was like, whoa, like I literally was just blown away. But I found myself surrounded by all this expensive stuff, and when I looked around, I saw my cousin Justin with his family. I saw my cousin Jennifer with her family. I saw my cousin Scott with his family. I
Mm.
saw my grandmother. Like everybody had their family with them, but me. Everybody was surrounded by their family. The only thing I was surrounded by was these gifts,
Mm.
and it didn't equate. It did not. I did not care at all about that stuff. Only thing I cared about was my dad not being there, and just this continual cycle of him just abandoning and just being indifferent to me. And so like I was angry, and so I ran out of there, and I went outside, and I was crying. I was angry. I punched the door, like I was pissed. And my cousin Jennifer, she came outside. She stuck outside to get a cigarette. Her dad doesn't like her smoking, so she stuck outside, and she says, "You bummed out about your dad, huh?" And like I didn't say anything because like she already knew. Like my cousin Jennifer, she was the one cousin that I had that was not what I considered, and forgive me, family, for saying this, she was not sedity. Like she was not just high on herself. Like she had somewhat of a difficult childhood as well. And so she was able to a degree to relate to the
Yeah.
instability and
She could
alcoholism.
understand more where
She
that you were in. Yeah.
like I was more receptive to her. And so when she came out there, like she met me where I was, and she was like, I know you're upset. And she said, I know there's no explanation for why your dad is not here and everything. She said, but you have to understand that like your dad loves you. Like he does. He's just struggling with life right now.
Mm.
And like remember, I remember in the darkness of everything, I just remember at that particular time, you know, realizing that, I do have family that loves me. I do have family that cares about me. And albeit the one thing that I really wanted was, the picture perfect family, which what
Mm.
I've never,
Mm.
I still had family that loved me. And like, I, I believe that the significance of this time was it gave me a clear perspective of the real resentment that I had towards my father and the broken identity that I had. And the reason I say broken identity is because I assumed an identity based on the heritage and lineage of my family.
Mm.
But identity was broken because my circumstances didn't equate to that. My
Mm.
circumstances equated to poverty. They didn't equate, riches and wealth and all those things. And so, albeit I saw those things were kind of like dangled in front of me. You can't have these because your dad's an F up. And so like that cultivated a lot of anger in me, and a lot of pain and a lot of resentment towards my fight. And also, I mean, it kind of, once it got finished with my dad, it got projected towards my family because I started demanding them to justify why they were better off than I was when they didn't have to do that. Because the truth of the matter is,
But
my grandfather came literally from nothing.
but you were a
Literally,
child. You were a child, Devin.
but yeah,
And
a teenager.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I mean, it's still a child. A teenager is still a child.
Amen.
And I feel. Can I ask you, was your dad only ever in your life in that capacity, or was he sort of sober at any stage?
So that's the other thing that is difficult to grapple with because there were, even with my dad and my mom, they shared this. There were brief intervals of time, 6 months, 3 months, where they were sober and they were trying to do best. And then like the instability, the roller coaster of that was what was so affecting to me because it cultivated an expectation. It gave me an expectation that so this is what a dad is supposed to be like. And as soon as I start expecting and start receiving, it crashes.
Mm, yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's the, you said you never smoke crack again. You said you never overdose again. Like it's all of these things. So it was just an up and down roller
Mm,
coaster. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 years old. Like that consistent instability in my life, like it 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 jacked me up.
yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not in the least bit shocked or surprised, to hear that. I mean, it's the worst thing for a child at the worst possible age. And I always hear these stories, and it's as if the children seem to think that there must have been something they did, and that perhaps some fault for any of it can be attributed to them. But I mean, it's simply not the case. Adults have choices and make choices, and sadly, even when they become parents, they don't make the right ones all the time. And,
You're,
as we
no,
know, addiction is such a vicious cycle, to get out of,
it
particularly
is.
if it's drugs and alcohol.
You said something that I thought was very important. You know, as a child, being emotionally um, enabled, if that's a word, to rightly process emotions and
Mm,
circumstances and situations, you start to misidentify stuff because
mm,
you're coming from a handicap position, if you will, because you're not mature
mm,
to be able to process the what's and the effects of that what. And so what happens is, beyond the resentment and the anger towards the failings of your expectations of what you understand a mother and a father to do, you start questioning, is it something that you have done or something
mm,
that you haven't done? And the dangers in that is because that starts to infringe upon our identity and our self-worth as human beings. And when that starts so young, it continues to spiral and get worse and worse and worse, where you
yeah,
start questioning, and trying to validate yourself in things that are not only detrimental to you, but that have no place in identifying you as a
mm,
human being or having worth.
mm,
And I think that that's very
mm.
dangerous.
And
Sad. I mean,
it really
it's
goes
very real.
to show, doesn't it, that actually it's not the material things in life that are important. You'd been showered with any number of gifts, and actually it was a loss that upset you that day. It was the fact that your father simply wasn't present. Mm. Where was your mother at
There,
that
there are,
time?
there
Did you have no idea at all where she was?
I didn't. Um, and it's crazy because shortly after, like I said, I was about to graduate this program, and my dad was MIA, and so I ended up going to stay with my cousin Scott. And so right around that time, um, my mom actually came back into the picture. She was living in Lake Okeechobee, and she reached out. And my cousin Scott was very reluctant to let me go live with her. He wanted me to stay with him and my auntie,
Mm,
my cousin Lucy. And so like I started getting in trouble again when I was staying at Scott. Like I was stealing, like I was breaking into houses, smoking weed in the crib, and all types of stuff. And so um, they didn't want me doing that,
yeah.
understandably so. And it was like, you gotta make a choice. You can either stay here or you can go somewhere else.
Mm,
And so my mindset, my mom was available. Now, the one bad thing about parents, aside from what we've already spoken about, is the one thing about parents who are not dependable, who are not responsible, whatever. You can pretty much do whatever you want to. And so me
mm,
me still being rebellious, my mindset was like, I can go up there and I can still do whatever it is I want to
mm,
do and have a roof or
yeah.
whatever over my head.
Yeah.
That didn't work out. Her boyfriend was, yeah, we didn't get along at all. At all. He was what I would consider a redneck. He was racist. I didn't like him. I ended up fighting with him and ended up leave there. Yeah, that was the whole thing. So I ended up having to leave from there. And then my dad came back into the picture and I moved to Miami. Yeah, it's just like
I mean, it
people
was a
always
roller
ask me like,
coaster, wasn't it? It really was a roller
oh,
coaster.
it literally like I bounced around just 6 months here, 3 months there, a week
Yeah.
there, 2 weeks. I mean,
Yeah.
just chaos.
Mm. I mean, as I
Uh,
said, the worst thing at the worst sort of time. And when was the last time, can I ask, Devin, that you saw either of your parents? When was their sort of exit from your life?
the last time I saw my mother was, I want to say, January 2003. I
Mm,
saw her briefly. And my dad, I saw him shortly after my trial.
right.
Because my dad, so I got the parchment March 13th, 2003. My dad died May 17th,
Mm.
2003. And my mom died of an overdose about 9 months later. I think it was December of 2003.
So
Uh,
actually, I mean, all of that happened within the space of a calendar year.
oh yeah, I got convicted. I got convicted of capital murder. A month later, my dad died.
Mm.
9 months later, my mama died.
I
I mean,
mean,
yeah,
it's absolute. I mean, it's astonishing, isn't it? It's astonishing. And you
uh,
were what age then? You were so young.
I was 22 when my dad died, and when I came here, I was 23 when my mama died.
Yeah, very, very traumatic for you. And it saddens me hugely, not least because obviously the details of your case so deserve somebody to take another look and open their eyes to some of the characters that were involved within your case, and who,
Yeah,
post your case, were found guilty of ineptitude on so many different levels. And I don't understand how, that road doesn't automatically lead back to every trial they were ever involved in.
yeah, yes, ma'am.
Mm,
Uh, yes, it's hard. It's hard to look at the circumstances and not be mindful of the past.
mm,
Um, so much of the past is what determines where we are in the present, um, to some degree.
mm. Um, did you remain in contact with any of your cousins or your grandmother once you went to Parchment?
Well, yes. I I wasn't doing well when I first got here. Like
Mhm,
the circumstances, then my parents, like I just shut down. Like I want to say I got worse. I got worse after I got here with my drug abuse, amongst other things. Just anger. Um, yeah, it did not.
mm,
I did not continue, or I continued in a very rebellious and unfortunate way. I tell people, like, I was given more stuff I was unable or unwilling to deal with, and so Devin just continued to do what Devin does: self-medicate and self-destruct.
mm,
Um, until I realized that, like, what I was doing was not, it wasn't working anymore. At that time, like, I want to say I had done every drug that I possibly could think of, um, and I was still searching. Like, I was still it was falling short. It wasn't doing it anymore, and
mm,
I was still grieved. I was still in pain. I was still angry. I was still lost. I was still hurt, and I can't. I mean, you can't stay high all the time.
mm,
You can't function. Like, there are responsibilities that are implied on us as human beings, self
mm,
care, whatever it may be. Especially living in a community, like, you're, whether you like it or not, you're responsible for other people, and so to be impaired all the time is a disservice, not so
mm.
much just to me, but to my fellow human
But
being. I
to
mean,
people around
I,
you as well.
I
And I
yeah,
mean,
I mean,
it's
you're
such
mindful of that.
a good story, that a very positive aspect, I always think, with your story is that you have managed within the confines of your sentence. You have managed to utterly turn your life around, and I mean, all credit to you, because it's pretty darn amazing where you are now
Uh,
from where you were then.
yeah, as much as I appreciate that, and there is responsibility in that I have the ability to choose. But anybody looking at my life, the common denominator between who I was prior to 2013 and who I am now, anybody that knows me, they're gonna say it's Jesus.
Mm,
For anybody who knows me, not to say that they don't know me.
mm,
They did, yeah. That
mm,
if you look at my life and look at a particular point where literally everything just changed,
mm,
it's 2013. And
mm.
that change is God. It's Him.
And
That's the only difference.
we've spoken about this just between ourselves previously, and I remember asking you about, you know, this whole thing that some people, not all, obviously, some people say, oh, people, you know, they get into prison, they get a bad sentence, they find God. You know, it's a way of sort of looking for sympathy. Um, some people, I'm sure that probably is the case, but with you, your faith is so apparent in sort of every breath you take, every, you know, literally, your faith is absolutely woven through you. Can you talk a bit more about that?
I mean, yeah, I mean, unfortunately, like jailhouse religion, like that is a thing. Um, but as with all things, you know, they get tested,
Mm,
and you know, uh, if you plant an apple seed, you're gonna get an apple tree. You may not see it at first. It may take 6 months, a year and a half
mm,
before you start seeing the actual fruit of it. But you're going to see fruit that's reflective of the seed that is planted. And there are things that attest or witness to the validity and integrity of my faith in God. And more so than not, that's reflected in the relationships that have been restored. Other people, my family specifically, the consistency in character, the integrity, the changes like that they see in my family was the last to come on board. Some of them was like, "Oh, he's using the religion thing now. Okay, we'll see how long that lasts."
right. So they were
But
cynical.
like in, oh yeah, they were cynical without question. Because I mean, I've been the type of person that I used to be. Like I was manipulative, I was
Mm,
deceptive, I was a liar, a thief, and so like they were skeptical.
mm,
Uh, over years, after 5 years, 10 years, like they started like, okay, this might be real. And then seeing the things that God is doing in my life that are not because of me, um, is another thing that gives witness, to that. And so there's a lot of things other than just my character. I'm not perfect. Like I don't, people who know me, I don't have to tell them that.
no, nobody is, Devin. Nobody is
Right,
perfect.
right. But 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 my character is consistent for the
Mm,
most part.
mm,
Most they that know me now, they know like if something's out of place, we say they don't sound like Devin because
mm,
my character is consistent.
yeah.
Just
Oh, I
whether it's
I
honesty or integrity,
absolutely wholeheartedly agree with that. I always feel that um, uh, when we're going to sit down and have a chat, I feel like I know you incredibly well now, and you are totally consistent. Consistent in your, you know, with your manners, with your general attitude, with the way you carry yourself, and within the conversations that we have. And, you
excuse me.
know, it is amazing that to see you come on this journey and see you where you are now. And I wish your case would move along and be seen,
It, it
and, and,
will.
and and it would sort of line up with, you know, the changes that you've made, because your case for me remains one that's grotesquely unfair.
Edmund, I agree. Uh, all in time. Yeah,
Mm,
all in
mm,
time.
absolutely, absolutely. But I thank you for sharing that, and I'm sure it was hard work at times, but I'm really glad that you did have some family members in your life. that at times, did
Amen.
put their arms around you, as it were. Can I finish by asking,
Amen.
has your grandmother passed? Has she passed away?
So, so, so interestingly, I know you've probably heard me talk about it, but on August 1st of 2012, I went on a hunger strike. My
Mm.
grandmother, my dad's mom, she died on August 2nd, 2012.
Mm.
So I feel like that pain and that like harnessing that, if you
Mm.
will, is really what compelled me to go those 19 days. Because I love to eat. I just feel like it
Yeah.
was something there. I didn't want to deal with that. And so the pain and the anger and everything that I had in losing
Mm.
her, it kind of harnessed me a little bit to just push me. Maybe a sense of denial in that. It's
Mm.
kind of what I to, because
Mm.
I wasn't a man of faith then, and I tapped out after 19 days. I realized I wasn't as down for the cause as I thought I was.
Well,
Um,
hang on. I mean, 19 days, goodness me.
oh
From what
yeah,
we
19,
said, what
yeah, 19 days. But
other people said you were will-o'-the-wisp at the end of it. There was nothing of you.
yeah, I lost 27 pounds. I'm already skinny.
Yeah, I can't even
Yeah,
imagine. Yeah.
but yeah, she passed in 2012, and my mother's mom, my mama Ray, um, I forget what year she passed. I want to say 2017,
Mm.
18. Yeah, she suffered Alzheimer's. She slipped and fell.
Yeah,
Um, yeah,
that's very sad. Well, I thank you hugely for sharing that story,
I think.
and it's always great chatting with you. Always great. Thank you.
No, likewise, likewise. God bless.
You too.